What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and here we go with the box office breakdown, the scoreboard for the movie industry. This is where we take a look at who's hot, who's not, the winners and the losers. We also take a look at the week that just passed along with the week to come. All right, so big weekend, crowded multiplex with lots of films, lots of different types of films in theaters. We talked about this over the last couple of weeks, that right now there's a lot of different types of movies. We got like semi-blockbusters in there, blockbusters. We got some, indie type films, big budget, low budget, something for the kids, couple of movies for the kids, the families. Everything is packed into this weekend, and yeah, it did pretty good. Not as good as I thought it would do, but it did overall pretty well. All right, so let's go ahead and look at that. And I'm on, of course, Box Office Pro, where the movie fans go. And right here, we're looking at these 5 films. The first one, Bad Guys, and you got The Northman, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, Secrets of Dumbledore, and then Sonic 2. And who came out ahead? The Bad Guys. The Bad Guys takes the $24 million domestic debut home for the win. So let's go ahead and read about that. Not a bad start, it says. Heading into the weekend, Universal DreamWorks animated The Bad Guys was projected to come in somewhere around 3rd place with about $15 million. Instead, it beat most expectations by debuting in 1st place with an estimated $24 million. So I thought that it would do good, and I thought I was overestimating my numbers, but nevertheless, I did think that it would have a pretty solid weekend, because coming off of Sonic, a lot of folks said, I really want to go back to the movies with my family, bring my kids along, let's have a good time. And that's what happened. People said, you know what, we saw Sonic last week and we saw it the week before, maybe let's check out a different movie, let's go check out The Bad Guys. And it was getting great reviews, great audience scores, people walking out of the theaters absolutely loved it. So yeah, it's coming in good, $24 million above its expectations. And as you can see, it did pretty good when comparing it to other family films like Scene 2, The Addams Family, and Boss Baby Family Business. All right, but other films didn't fare quite so well. So Sonic, of course, is still doing great. It's really, really doing well. Came in 2nd place. And when you sit back and think about it, this is a film that dropped about 2 weeks prior. And, a lot of people had already seen that. The box office has been doing absolutely fantastic. It's continuing to pump out really good numbers. This time, it came to a $15.2 million weekend. We're going to go ahead and check the numbers out in a minute. But then in 3rd place, it was The Secrets of Dumbledore, as they say, The Secrets of Tumbledore. Yeah, big problems with this franchise right now. I'm not sure if these guys are going to be happy with this performance. I'm going to touch on this particular film and the franchise as a whole in just a little bit, just to kind of go over what it is that they need to do. But yeah, you can see overall, these films did pretty good. The box office was only at about an $87 million take for the entire weekend. So it had been in triple figures for 3 weeks in a row, and now it's fallen out, now only doing 87 million. But still, with the types of movies that you have in theaters right now, a little bit might have been more expected for Fantastic Beasts. I'm thinking that's the disappointment here out of everything, because it should have did a much better box office last week, and then this week, as it talks about, with a 67% drop. Whew, bad news. That is horrible news for this particular franchise. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump straight to that, because I want to discuss what does that mean overall and why it's doing so poorly. All right, so let's take just a quick look at what I believe are the issues with this particular series of films from the Wizarding World franchise. And there's really 3 main ones. There's probably other ones that are smaller, but these are the really big 3 that I think. Fantastic Beasts story choices, fans wanting Hogwarts stories, and then the negative press that's come out. Okay, so they all have different percentages as to who's at fault. It's not 100% on the story choices. Each of these are going to have a percentage of blame. If you were to cut this up into a blame pie and say, okay, this portion of the blame goes to this portion of the blame goes to that. So I think, number one, the Fantastic Beasts story choices overall, right? Coming into this series, I didn't know what to expect from this, but I kind of thought okay, we're going to get some beasts, we're going to get a lot of magical, mystical monsters and everything like that. I don't know. I have to see how it works. You know, I trust J.K. Rowling. I'm pretty sure she has an idea of what she wants to do. But then as the thing starts to unfold, it's like, well, this isn't really about Fantastic Beasts at all. In fact, this is about Dumbledore going up against Grindelwald. That's ultimately where we're heading to. And so why not just start with that? Why throw the Fantastic Beast in there so you can have kind of a new character in Newt Scamander, I guess? But yeah, it eventually, you know, I started to feel like kind of like how Jeff Goldblum felt in Jurassic Park.
Now eventually you do plan to have dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right? Hello? Hello?
Like, yeah, are you gonna have any Fantastic Beast in your Fantastic Beast movie? Or at least are you gonna make this about the Fantastic Beast? Like the first one, I think they kind of touched on it, but then they kind of went off the rails. The second and the third movie, these really are just about Dumbledore and Grindelwald. And whereas I'm interested in that story, I don't know how many other like Wizarding World Potterheads are really interested in that story. So from this standpoint, I'm gonna say that this one holds the majority of the blame. I'm gonna say the Fantastic Beasts story choices come in 60%. That's more than half of the reason that this thing is failing. The story choices and how they chose to lay this Dumbledore Grindelwald feud out, just not working. All right, the second one, and I feel like this one is just as important, although I left it at a smaller percentage, but I think fans just want the Hogwarts stories, like the hardcore Potterhead Wizarding World fans. Hey, just put us back at Hogwarts, because that's where we want to go anyway, okay? That's what you fell in love with if you started liking this particular series. You like the Potter lore, you like the Wizarding World, but you like it really centered around Hogwarts. Yeah, can we go off campus and go to Hogsmeade and go to all of these other places and all of that? Yes, but ultimately this is a schoolhouse story. This is a coming of age story. This is about young witches and wizards growing up and learning how to, put themselves into this particular society or this particular world and where they fit in. And that's what kids like, but that's even what adults like, because it's like, yeah, kind of reminds you of you being a kid and going through those growing pains yourself. So I think that fans wanting Hogwarts stories, and I've been saying this since probably the last book came out, hey, the next one has got to be the Marauders, okay? You got to go and tell a prequel, kind of like you would tell, the prequel to the Star Wars series. You got to tell a prequel to the Harry Potter series, and that would be with the Marauders, okay? That took place like just a decade and a half, right before Harry Potter, so you can get back into the 70s and you can start showing all that kind of that kind of thing. That would be kind of fun. But not only that, you're dealing with a lot of different, like really popular fun storylines that people really wanted to dig into. You know what? I'm eventually have to just do a video about this so I can just get all of my thoughts out, because I think that's what the fans ultimately want. But nevertheless, I think one quarter of the blame goes to the fans wanting the Hogwarts stories. Okay, and then finally, negative press, of course, that leaves us with the remainder of the blame pie. That's at 15%, and that's all the stuff to do with J.K. Rowling and her comments, out there on social issues that she doesn't like or approve of. That's about Johnny Depp getting pulled from the franchise because of the issues going on with Amber Heard. That's because of Ezra Miller and all of his controversy. That's been going back a couple of years. The stuff that's happening now, it didn't just start. This has been going on for the last couple of years, and a lot of people, I did a video on this where people said, hey, I want the same, punishment that they gave to Will Smith. I want that for Ezra Miller. I want that for Amber Heard, because those celebrities haven't been touched. And a lot of people feel some kind of way when Warner Brothers says, yeah, we're going to pull Johnny Depp out, but they still have Amber Heard in the Aquaman film. And a lot of people feel some kind of way about that, and I don't blame them. That kind of inconsistency rubs fans the wrong way. And of course, you've been watching a lot of the Johnny Depp trial going on right now. It's happening right as this film is coming out. So I think all of that negative press just compounds and adds on to the problem. And there's a lot of people that are like, you know what? Peace. I'm not even touching this thing. I'm gonna leave this. Warner Brothers is getting what they deserve. That's how people feel about it. And so I think that one of those three reasons is probably a reason that if you haven't seen this film, you don't want to see this film. Either you don't like the story choices and you just have no interest in this particular segment of the franchise at all, or you do like, you know, the Wizarding World, but you're like, man, you know, this thing really didn't turn me on, and I want more Hogwarts stories anyway. And then, or finally, number 3, you know, just the negative press. You're just like, you know, not feeling this thing because of how the press has come out about it. All right, but that's it for that. Tell me what you think on that one. Let's go ahead and jump straight to the numbers. Let's see what the numbers are looking like for this past week. All right, folks, here we go. The top 10 for the weekend. Let's check it out. Number 1, The Bad Guys, of course, $24 million. Great numbers off the bat. Number 2, Sonic, $15.2 million for second place. Number 3, The Secrets of Dumbledore takes $14 million. Number 4, The Northman coming in at $12 million. And then number 5, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, sitting at 7.1. Let me tell you, those last 2 on that top 5, great films, both of them. I think folks should definitely go and check those 2 out. All right, and then the second half of the top 10, Everything Everywhere All at Once at $5.4 million. The Lost City at $4.3 million. Father Stew at $3.3. Morbius at $2.2. And then finally, Ambulance coming in 10th place with $1.8 million. All right, and then we go to the week over week drops. So if you see Sonic right there at 48%, that is a really, really, really impressive number for its 3rd weekend, only to be dropping about half with a kids movie out right next to it, no less. So The Bad Guys comes out, Sonic is like, no problem, I'm gonna hang in there and keep doing my numbers, and it does. 48% drop is great. It's sitting at $287 million on the worldwide box office. We're gonna touch on that in a second. Then we get to The Secrets of Dumbledore, of course, 67%, humongous drop, $280 million worldwide. Everything Everywhere All at Once at a 12% drop. Look at that. I mean, 12%. Like the last 2 weeks, it had been going up, and now it only goes down by 12%. Impressive numbers for this particular film. 28 million overall. The Lost City finally got its international release, and it's starting to pick up a little bit of the money and picking up the pace there. It had a 29% drop. Still really, really good drops for a film that came out in the middle or the end of March. And here we are at the end of April, so doing very well there. And then Father Stew, which also came out last week, great, you know, drop, 38%, over $13 million now on the worldwide box office. All right, and then we get to the top 10 worldwide. Batman still sitting on top, put on another $3 million from last week, $754 million, and it's on HBO Max. That's insane to me. Like, this movie is still making money even though it's out on HBO Max, but a lot of people want to see it in theaters, so hey, good for you. Watergate Bridge at $626 million. Uncharted picked up another $3 million itself. It's at $392 million. Sonic coming in at 4th place, $287 million. And then The Secrets of Dumbledore in the top 5 overall at $280 million. All right, and then the second half, you still got Too Cool to Kill, Nice View, Morbius picking up a little bit of money. Morbius is going to need some help. We'll get to that in the next page. Scream, and then Death on the Nile. All right, so here we go, the make it or break it numbers. You see Lost City and Morbius sitting right there. They need about the same kind of money. Morbius is a little bit closer at $156 million. However, we do know next weekend, or not next week, but 2 weeks from now, you know, we're going to have Doctor Strange 2. Next week, that's it. They're going to have to get something done. But the Lost City will as well, although it's starting to filter out and it's international. If it could get some international burn going, I think Lost City will be all right. Ambulance is a lost cause at this point. I don't think it's going to make its money. Sonic, as you can see, $287 million. It's just stacking on money on top of what it already has made. And then The Secrets of Dumbledore. So, yeah, this one's going to be tough because right now you're looking at another $220 million that it needs. And, you know, of course, again, we got big movies coming up. I don't know if this is going to, I just don't think this is going to make it, but you never know. You never know. What it's doing overseas right now is really, really helping. And if the overseas audiences continue to support this film, I think you're going to, you know, they may have a chance. If it can get to 400 million, I think Warner Brothers will probably say, all right, you know, we'll take it. We'll take it. You know, it's not the greatest numbers, but hey, you know what? Based on how this thing started off, you know what? Hey, we'll take it. All right, but let's go ahead and talk about next week. Let's see what next week is going to have to offer. All right, folks, so here we go with the weekend of April the 29th. And yeah, check a look. Nothing. Nothing's coming out, no big movies, just one wide release, and that's this film called Memory. And guess what? Another Liam Neeson actioner. Okay, so nobody's gonna go watch this. And so really what you have right now, this is do or die. This is do or die time for Fantastic Beasts, for The Lost City, for Morbius, for those films that really need a strong push. This is it. But you're also going to have Sonic interfering in there, and you're also going to have bad guys, which apparently is going to, hang tough and kind of, keep going. So Sonic, bad guys are in good shape right now. I think Fantastic Beasts, this is it, because the following weekend, yep, we can already tell what's going to happen the following weekend. This guy right here, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, all right? And that's the only wide release this week, nobody decided to jump in here and step like an old Liam Neeson. Like, they probably just dusted that thing off and said, hey, let's throw it out there, see what happens. They're not concerned because you don't put movies 1 week ahead, because your second week is going to absolutely tank. So, yeah, everybody's avoiding the MCU bare, and for a very good reason, because Doctor Strange is going to absolutely crush it. Now, one last thing I wanted to look at, being that Sonic is doing so well, I'm starting to get curious as to how high it can fly. So yeah, I want to take a look at this particular list, which is the highest grossing films based on video games. All right, so let's take a look and see what we're talking about right here. And we know that Sonic, it's already up in this list. There it is at number 12. But remember, we already saw the numbers. This number is wrong. $242 million. That's wrong. All right. So we already know that it's up in it's already passed up Lara Croft Tomb Raider. It's at 287 million. So right now it's sitting in 10th place. Once, Wikipedia finally updates their numbers, we're going to see this jump up to number 10. Now, how high will it go? I've already said, I believe in my heart of hearts, it's going to hit the $400 million mark. Now, in order to do that, it has a long way to go. It's going to need some help international because really all of these films, when you look at them and you break them down, they've been international hits as big as anything else. Sonic, on the other hand, has kind of split the number, right? 50 million or 50% domestic, almost 50% international. So it's right down the middle. It's going to need this international number to pick up because it's already the biggest domestic box office video game film in history based on a video game film. It's already number one. So now it's just a matter of, okay, we got to get past these other numbers. How are we going to do that? Okay, the international audiences are really going to have to drag this thing across $400 million. I think it can make there, but we're going to see because it's going to have another, I would say probably another 3 or 4 weeks before it finally gets pulled and goes off to Paramount Plus for its debut there. And then once that happens, yeah, it's just all going to fizzle out. But again, I think the international audiences and some of the video game audiences here haven't gotten enough. So it'll definitely hit $300 million. Can it hit $400 million? But if not, where will it land? Will it land in, above the original Sonic, which is 320, no doubt? Will it land above the Prince of Persia, the Angry Birds? Will it get to Uncharted? It's chasing it right now. I think it's a possibility it will get to that $400 million mark. I really believe that. But yeah, that'll do it for me. I want to thank you for watching the box office breakdown. Lots and lots to talk about in the upcoming weeks. Of course, we're going to start getting ready for Doctor Strange and trying to predict where that thing would land overall. And we're going to try to see if we can get close to predictions. My predictions have been all over the place. Sometimes way too high, sometimes way too low, sometimes right on the money. I'm going to really start thinking long and hard about this one to see if I can nail the Doctor Strange prediction, at least for the opening weekend. So I'm going to start doing my homework. I suggest you do the same. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate all the support, all the subscribers that are coming in. You guys mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate all the support that you're giving me and the comments. Keep dropping those. All right, folks. See you next time.